I am a 41 years old male, single dad with a 13-year-old daughter Lacey. My wife died in childbirth and it's just been me and Lacey all her life. My sister has been a big help in raising Lacey, and we do keep in contact with her maternal grandparents. The issue started a couple of months ago when Lacey started her period. I knew this day would come, so I spoke to my sister, my female best friend and my mother-in-law to be well prepared. I gave her the talk with her grandmother and aunt there. I buy her pads and tampons. I even have Midol and heating pads ready for Lacey when she needs them. The problem began when I began to notice a smell coming from Lacey's room. I went in to investigate and found pads and tampons openly disposed of in her wastebasket. I checked her bathroom and it was worse. She had her blood-stained undergarments in the tub. I took out her trash and did my best to get rid of the smell, but I didn't know what to do with the underwear in the tub. Later, I noticed bloodstains on the couch. It took a while of cleaning, but I got them out. I figured that was the end of that. It happened again last month, when I noticed Lacey's room was stinking again. And I saw she didn't even wash the underwear from before. The bathroom was unbearable at this point. Then earlier this week, I saw bloodstains on the couch again. I sat Lacey down and told her that she had to learn to properly dispose of her feminine hygiene products and wash her underwear, as the smell was becoming too much. And to be careful of getting bloodstains on the couch or anywhere she sits. I also noticed her sheets had a lot of bloodstains and brought this up too. I also let her know that it was okay to get blood on things as long as she washed them. And I wouldn't be upset if I saw her bloodstained items being washed. Lacey immediately blew up at me saying that periods aren't gross and that I was period shaming, and that I needed to educate myself on menstruation. I then got texts from my sister and mother-in-law scolding me for making Lacey feel ashamed of her bodily functions. But I honestly wasn't trying to convey that periods are gross. I was trying to convey that her hygiene needed to be addressed and that the smell was becoming unbearable. I just wanted to make sure that Lacey knew how to properly dispose of pads and tampons without it smelling, and that I wouldn't be annoyed if she washed her blood-stained items. We have washed the sheets with hydrogen peroxide and purchased some OxyClean for future instances should we need it. I have asked her aunt and grandmother about, and they'll be able to give her more info as different hygiene products she can use. I have been living with my new wife and stepdaughter for about 6 months now. She's 19, almost 20, and I have 3 sons aged 18, 16 and 15. She's a really good kid and she's a good influence on my sons. I really enjoy having her around. My wife and her daughter moved into my house and sold theirs. My stepdaughter's father isn't present in her life, nor is my son's mother. All 4 children share a bathroom. My sons have never lived for a long period of time with a woman, nor have any of them had long-term girlfriends. They had short visitation periods when they were younger, but never longer than an hour. So living with 2 women has been unusual for them. My eldest son, 18, came to me last week and told me that his stepsister disposes of her used sanitary products in the trash can they share, but doesn't use toilet roll or sandwich bags to disguise what they are, and it makes him uncomfortable, which I think is reasonable. My sons are teenage boys and don't want to see their stepsister's period products on full display. A few nights ago I went into the kitchen to grab a snack and she was there doing some work for university. My wife had mentioned that she knew she was on her period, so I took it as an opportunity to have a word with her. I told her my sons were uncomfortable and asked her if she'd mind putting her used products in diaper bags or flushing them down the toilet. She laughed and told me it was rich coming from a man who sheds like a gorilla and has produced 3 skid-marking sons, which I thought was just an unnecessary attack. I've been nothing but nice to the girl and it's hardly a comparison. My sons shouldn't be subjected to her unhygienic products if it makes them uncomfortable. She went on to lecture me about how tampons can't be flushed and that it's bad for the environment if she uses diaper bags for everyone, which I think is just an excuse. I called her a scruff and told her that this was my house and that what I say goes. I later asked my wife if she could have a word with her, and she told me I was being ridiculous and that her daughter has had her period for 10 years and knows what she's doing. When I told her it was making my sons uncomfortable, she said my sons needed to get a grip and turned over and went to sleep. This is a genuine issue to me and she didn't care enough to have a discussion about it. I asked my stepdaughter again in the morning and she did the same as her mother, completely dismissed it. Both of them have told me to stop being so silly, but I don't see how I'm being unreasonable when it makes my sons uncomfortable. I have been with my fiancé for 2 years. We are both 37 years old. We're getting married soon. I've only met her family a couple of times. My daughter, Judy, 16 years old, has never met them till very recently, where they hosted dinner to celebrate 4th of July, and that's when they met her for the first time. Judy has a visible burn scar on her forehead. It was due to an accident she was in when she was 9. She used to be incredibly insecure about it, to the point where I was forced to homeschool her, and it was hard trying to deal with and navigate through this rough time. Now she's doing a lot better, though some comments can really cause her to become stressed out and anxious. My fiancé knows all that and respects it. Before we went to her parents' house, I asked her to tell them about Judy and her struggle, and get to try and not say anything negative about it or possibly mention it. She said she would guarantee no one will say anything. We got to the event and they talked to Judy, and she slowly warmed up to them. Everything was going well till I was dinner time. My FMIL looked at Judy while she was eating and pointed at her scar, basically asking questions about it, which made Judy lose her appetite and start to get uncomfortable. I kept sending my fiancé and her mom signs to knock it off, but to no avail. Finally, FMIL then brought up the wedding and asked my fiancé if it'd be possible to Photoshop the scar out of any wedding photos that will have Judy in them, just in case they distract viewers. I was dumbfounded. Fiancé said nothing, just stared casually while nodding. I looked at Judy and it was clear this got to her. I leaned closer and asked if she was feeling uncomfortable and that we could leave if the answer was yes. She took her time, then nodded and said, "Yes, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now." I got up and told her to get ready cause we were leaving. My fiancé, her mom, and the family started insisting we finish dinner and stay, but I refused. I took Judy and got in the car and left before even talking to my fiancé. Obviously, she was pissed. She called and was angry, talking about how I disrespected her parents by taking Judy and leaving in the middle of dinner and not even saying goodbye. I told her that Judy was feeling uncomfortable with Mills' comments and questions. She said Judy overreacted and is in need to go back to therapy if a simple mention of her scar caused her to react that way. I got tired of arguing and asked her to give us some time, but she went on me and said that I have no respect for her and her family, and that what I did was irrational, and now she won't speak to me till I clear things up with her family, after ruining their celebratory dinner. I had a 1967 Impala 4-door that I bought in February 2019. A couple months ago I bought my first house that had a 2.5 car garage. I moved the car in and started tearing it down for a complete restoration. I had the body in one bay and the chassis in another, plus the whole garage filled with parts. About 2 months ago my girlfriend came to live with me during this whole crisis, and the whole time has hated that car. She wants to park in the garage, but I have 2 acres of land with a lot of nice places to park under shady trees, or hell, even in the barn if it has to be inside. I tell her tough luck, it's my house and it's not like I can just throw it back together real quick. Anyways, I was out of town for a couple days on a business trip for the small local company I work for. When I got back, my girlfriend was all smiles, making me food all the time, doing all the chores, all that. I thought maybe she just was happy to have me home, but then I realized that I didn't see her car in its usual spot. I asked her where she parked so I could make sure I mow that area and keep it clean, and she said not to worry because she parked in the garage. I asked how, and she told me to go check it out. Turns out that while I was gone she hired some people to come over and move everything related to that car, including the drivetrain, body, and chassis and all parts, and take it to the local dump / scrapyard. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I had spent over $11,000 on that car, including new parts, services, and the car itself. I told her that I was going to be taking her to court for that, and she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. I told her that it's done between us and to pack her things and leave. I admit I was really angry, but I did end up getting a lawyer. And as I have all the receipts for all that money spent, and I have her on my house's security cam footage letting the guys in and watching them take it all, I think I can win. Her family and friends are absolutely blowing me up, saying it's just a stupid old piece of junk, and that she cannot pay back all that money I spent, and that I should just let it go. But I have been putting all my time, effort, and money into that car for a year and a half now, and god damn it if I am not going to get justice for what she did. I got a call from her mom about 20 minutes ago and she told me that I was ruining her daughter's life over a stupid car. I told her she ruined her own life. I've been gathering documentation and stuff and I'm about to head down to the police station and file a report. As suggested by Lots here. Went to the police station last night, was told to come back in the morning. Just got back and filed an official report against her for grand larceny and grand theft auto. I showed them all the receipts I had for the car and the footage of her letting the guys come and take it, as well as the title for the vehicle in my name. They said they will be in contact with all three parties, me, XGF, and junkyard guys, soon, and they will hopefully be able to recover some or all of the car. Just have to wait now. The junkyard guys apparently were in the middle of hiding it when the police came to ask them questions. It was on a forklift and they were gonna put it on top of a pile of cars that was hidden behind more piles of cars. They said it was theirs and they had the title, but obviously didn't have the title for it, and since they matched the VIN on the chassis and body to the VIN on my title, it was obviously mine. I know at least one person there has been arrested. I think he was in the camera footage I talked about earlier, but if it was the boss or whomever or even his specific charge. They also told me they would be looking into this specific junkyard for any other vehicles reported stolen. They said they haven't been able to get in contact with my ex just yet, but they're working on it. I'm just so glad they found my car. Luckily, I made quite an album of pictures detailing me tearing down the car, and so I can use that to prove what parts they had were mine, so I can hopefully get most or all of it back. Police haven't let me take it back home yet, as they say it is evidence or something, so hopefully I can get it back eventually. Thank you all so much for the support and advice.